You're listening to the Go Lightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net. freedomtalkradio.net.
Hello.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Yeah, that's Greek.
And noches is nachos? Same as nachos?
Same as the Mexican things, yeah.
Do we know what day it is? No.
I have no idea.
I think it's a Monday. No, it's
Sunday.
Oh, I'm reading the clock
Monday.
here. No, it's Monday. Monday, April the 6th, 2015, and it is 12:04 p.m. So it is 38 hours and 4 minutes since the bloody blood moon on April the 4th. And 36 hours was the time from the crucifixion, the death on the cross at 3:16 until 36 hours later, the tomb burst open, the door blown off like an explosion, sheared the nail that was holding it, very thick nail, rolled the stone uphill to land underneath the place of the cross. That was also found on
6th of January.
6th of January 1982 by Ron Wyatt. Actually, did he find it earlier than that? Because, I mean, for years he dug. He only did it part-time.
Well, he was only doing it part-time.
Part-time.
The Antiquities Department of Jerusalem did something very unusual. They offered to help.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we will help you. We'll. Yes, he was
So
stunned.
they did nothing. They just monitored what he was doing.
Yes.
And he dug down, and I believe it took hundreds of feet of rubbish.
Rubbish, yes. It took him 7
get
years.
rid of it.
Yeah, 7 years part-time. He and his sons flying backwards and forwards from America because he'd have to go and earn more money. He was a nurse, wasn't he?
Yeah, pathology.
Pathology nurse. And then but it was. He broke through at his son's insistence to keep on going, and it was January at the 6th, 1982 at 2 p.m. Now, what is really interesting is that precise moment that he found or broke through to the Ark of the Covenant, Yah was himself 1982 weeks old in this lifetime. Now, as it happens, 1982, of course, is 33 years ago. We'll work out exactly the timing between that find and today, or the cross rather. 33 years ago, that as Jesus, he was cut off. And then 36 hours after the death on the cross, 3:16 in the afternoon, you can read about the report of the Jewish soldier. Pilate was smart. Pilate was a friend of Jesus. He was horrified by the crucifixion. And he didn't have the Roman guards to spare to guard the tomb. So he had them post the Jewish soldiers. That was his instruction, because in his mind, if the Jews were going to be up to foul play, it was Pontius Pilate who insisted that his trusted Malchus go with Joseph of Arimathea for the internment of the body into the tomb that was owned by Joseph of Arimathea, so that there'd be no foul play by the Jews, no messing with the body. And then he posted a guard of Jewish soldiers, 100 of them, around the tomb. So if anything happened, be it upon their head. So it was the guard by the name of Ben Isham who gave the report directly to Pontius Pilate, what happened at the moment of resurrection. And he describes... Now, this is really very interesting. This is how you can nail it, the timing of the resurrection. A watch, or a day of 24 hours, was divided into 8 watches, each of 3-hour periods. The day started at 6 p.m. So the first watch is between 6 and 9 p.m. This is still on the same night, if you like, of the crucifixion. So this is on the 3rd of April. The next day began 164 minutes later, after the death on the cross, at 6 p.m. The first watch then between 6 and 9 p.m. The second watch between 9 and midnight, or 12 a.m. So now we're crossing over into the Saturday, which would be the 4th. The third watch between midnight and 3 a.m. And then 36 hours later, at what Ben Isham, the Jew, reports as the beginning of the 4th watch. The 4th watch started at 3 a.m. Now God, as the mathematician and perfectionist that he is, 36 hours later at 3:16 a.m., which is the beginning of the 4th watch. And you can read those words by Ben Isham where he describes what happened. He describes the golden light. It became like day. However, it wasn't day, because Pilate was questioning him. Are you sure it wasn't the dawn? He says, no, it was too early, besides which the whole area that he was observing had a cut-off. The golden light had an edge and a cut-off, and beyond that it was as dark as could be. And what he witnessed was the resurrection of the souls, the rising of the souls, the ones that had died. These are the Old Testament prophets. These are all those who had no comforter. Their souls rising from the graves, glorifying God and being taken up, ascending into the heavenly realm, praising and giving glory to God. And he heard also the music, this beautiful music that he described. Pontius Pilate asked him, how long did it go on for? He said, about 1 hour. And then he described how then the dawning of the daylight began to consume what he witnessed with that golden light.
Okay, now why is it that, as you know, they changed things in the New Testament? There's quite a bit changed and added or removed. Mary was supposed to have been the woman that first encountered what she thought to be a gardener in the garden, which is the Garden of Gethsemane, where Mary had conceived and where her mother Anna had conceived, both of immaculate conceptions.
Right, so we're talking now about...
Now it says Mary was in the garden and she asked this man, where have they taken him?
I'll read it.
Assuming he is the gardener. In actual fact, it was Martha. Now remember, Martha and Mary were both my wife at one stage. The second wife, Martha, she could conceive, the first wife couldn't. Now, why would she not recognise the risen Christ or Jesus when she was married to the man? Well, the reason is that she thought that she referred to him as Sir, a title you give to an old man.
Mm.
And so the old man that she saw was the white-haired ghost of Jesus, the soul, being the father.
Mm.
That is why the Shroud of Turin has got white hair. It's an old man, that's why I got white hair today. So she saw this old man and she wondered, where have you taken him? What did you tell me? What's going on? It was a basic idea, right?
Shall I read that?
Huh?
Shall I read the verses?
Read the verse, yeah.
All right. So we've got the account, John 13 and 14, where it's the angels say, why are you weeping? I know not where they have laid him. And then in 14 it says, and when she had thus said, she turned herself back and saw Jesus standing and knew not that it was Jesus. Verse 15, remember this, 2015. Jesus saith unto
Today, 2015.
This year, 2015, Jesus saith unto her, woman, why weepest thou? Whom seekest thou? She, supposing him to be the gardener, saith unto him, Sir.
Capital S.
Capital S.
It's a salutation for an old man.
For an old man. If thou hast borne him hence, tell me where thou hast laid him, and I will take him away. Jesus saith unto her, now it's actually Martha. She turned herself, the script says Mary, but it's actually Martha. She turned herself and saith unto him, Rabboni, which is to say, Master. And then Jesus saith unto her, touch me not, for I am not yet ascended to my Father, but go to my brethren and say unto them, I ascend unto my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God. So he's talking about a future time, ascending to, what did we say, back to the future.
You can say it's like that because it's the Ezekiel prophecy of wheels within wheels.
The realms.
Realms
yes.
within realms, and I've been there twice, and I can tell you that what happens on the other realm, you would think that, and in my case, the first time I couldn't remember where I'd come from. As far as I was concerned, I was just living my life as a little boy, and Mary walking down the hill, nothing new to me.
Yes.
But we had just come from Egypt. So I was tired, and that was as real as if you walked and said what's happening at the very moment that we're sitting here talking. It's as real can be. But I didn't remember where I'd come from. With the older situation, the conception had to take place, so therefore the realms within realms, as the winding down of the cross and the conception that had to occur in 1943, of course, the dates all line up. And what I've done in this other PowerPoint that I've been doing is I'm precisely measuring the exact moment in time where the stars, in particular the planets, and then back down to the sun and the moon, which is the accuracy of them, because they're moving at such high speeds. And they talk about, I mention, the distance to my birthplace from the sun on the moment of resurrection as being a sepulture. So it was from the sepulture this all happened. Go back in time, this is the 3 days that will raise it up again, the temple will be destroyed and raise up again. Well, the 3 days in that time was 3 12-hour days. Days and nights, right? So it was a 36-hour period. So in that 36 hours, you're gone from the cross, the ghost travels to, as the Holy Ghost, this is the comfort of prophecy, the Holy Ghost who will teach you all things, comes to Daphne, she conceives, and then the round trip is basically 36 hours in Jerusalem time. Okay? But we've traversed 1910 years in modern time. So that's the ratio, 1910 years to 36 hours. We've done the math on that as well. It gives you all sorts of wonderful things that come out of it. So I did the calculation based on Greenwich time. This is the where all astronomy is based. The UTC time, and it was, I set it at 1:16 p.m. And 26 seconds. Because it has to line up, everything else lines up. And what that number is the 11626 number of the antechamber, and then when I get married and all that sort of thing in weeks and years difference, 11.626 years difference between the two girls in the family. And then Michelle being Mary Magdalene, 1162.6 days younger than I. So it all fits together. So there's no stretch of the imagination that the moment of death had to align with that. So it became 3, 16 and 26 seconds in the afternoon of April the 3rd, which in Greenwich time, afternoon time, is 1 hour, 16 minutes and 26 seconds Greenwich time. So I then calculated the distances to the moon and the sun, and then go forward in time to the moon location at the same moment of conception. When you add precisely 1910 years to it, that gives you a date and a location of the moon based on the same numbers. And that also, when you measure from the sun to the North Pole, it's 9420 miles. There's a 942 number. Now, you can say, all right, I will continue along those lines until we find perfection. Well, also we get out of it is scourging. Right? So we've got tomb, we've got scourging, and the garden where my mother conceived in Australia, in Sydney, was on Gardiner's Road. So here's the old man that Martha didn't recognise, and you can say, well, the woman didn't recognise it, be it Martha or Mary, it doesn't matter. The point is, what it's saying is Sir, which is a reference to an old man, and all gardeners, of course, are old men, especially in those days. So what you have then is why? Because the old man, the Sir, had white hair, which is what is coming out of the revelations of the white-haired man coming out of the negative image on the Shroud of Turin. When you change it to a positive, you end up with a white-haired old man. And that is me today. And I say the word old very reluctantly. So when you look at all the different reports that aren't biblical but are accurate, and that is the Caiaphas report or the Pontius Pilate report, it's pretty obvious that what happened at that time was quite spectacular. So there's another way of looking at it, that once the job was done, if you like, the baby is conceived, now we have to go through to the age of Armageddon, the 71.717629 from conception, and then the other one is from birth. So the rejoicing in heaven takes place. Why? Because the Father, the Ghost, the Holy Ghost, which is the reality of the Shroud of Turin, goes and conceives within 1910 years in the future, and that then opens up the graves, because it's a done deal this end. 1910 years, it's a done deal. As soon as God's on the earth again, that's it. Because where God is, hell is going to be destroyed, because God goes into hell to get you all out of it. And we have most of the world totally devoured by the Jewish bullshit, or if it's India, all the bullshit of religions over there. It all comes from the same source. It all comes from the Jews, which their God is Lucifer. So it's totally, the world is totally devoured, except for the children. Little children don't know any different until they're educated by the monsters that's raising them. Right? So this is what it's all about. So we have a wheel within wheel, time revolving on the heavenly level, time revolving on the Jerusalem level at that moment, and you've got time revolving as we experience now when I'm talking to you on the radio. So we have three realms interwoven here. So we have the jubilation of the saints in heaven that reveal in this one verse, which is 2015. So it goes on. So what I've done is a lot of mathematics and so forth. I've got a few questions that I pose, not necessarily what I include in the, although I have written it into the PowerPoint. Whether I leave it there or not, I don't know. The question is, why did the Jews alter the account of Martha, changing it to his betrayer Mary? So Mary is one that calls the cross. She, Martha, my wife, she did not recognise myself in the garden after the resurrection. Why, when two men walking on the road did not recognise Jesus who had joined them until they sat down at meal and he started yapping on about what the prophecy meant, and they started to realise that this is the same speech of Jesus.
Well, it was even before then, because you were yapping on as you were
on the road.
On the road.
They didn't get it.
They didn't get it, but they talk about the burning within their spirit. And it was only when they invited you to stay for supper, you broke bread with them and the blessing.
That's right.
That their eyes were opened and they saw you.
So go on. We said, how could it be that the graves were open after the stone was rolled away? Did I immediately walk out of the tomb when the resurrection occurred, or was there a time I was out of this tomb, gone elsewhere? Well, that's what I'm talking about, gone to the future. The 100 soldiers guarding the tomb were there to ensure my followers did not come and steal my body away, then say I had resurrected as I said I would. They were Jewish soldiers. There was only 100 Roman soldiers in the whole city.
Yes, yeah, Pilate was stressed.
He was trying to get more soldiers from Syria.
Yeah.
What has Ezekiel's wheel within wheels got to do with it? Why was hell not defeated at my resurrection? Because it had to happen in the future. It's going to be defeated now. Because we're the continuation of the third wheel within the wheel of Ezekiel. Now Ezekiel, by the way, is 3168 in Hebrew, so this is a big clue for you, because 3168 is Lord Jesus Christ in Greek Gematria. So the answers. The Pontius Pilate's report to Rome states that the Jewish priest demanded 100 Jewish soldiers be placed outside the tomb. It's not clear in the Bible, it doesn't say that. But in the actual handwritten report of which is also available.
I've got it here. Shall I read it? It's not very long. Yeah. All right. So this is the account of the resurrection by
Pontius Pilate. I say, in 3 days I will destroy the temple and rebuild it. 3 days is 36 hours. This is daylight we're talking. The day ended at 6 p.m. The third watch took until after 3 a.m. Then they all heard heavenly angels singing, saw a brilliant light. The Jewish soldiers all reported the graves had opened. The graves were, and they're the last ones to report it, but they did because they're so terrified. The graves were the saints who had died, as there was no comforter in the past. In the Old Testament, no comforter. Yet the graves were opened by only the presence of the comforter in hell, because as the wheels within wheels is all lining up to this moment when I'm at the point of the opening of the graves, then, so thinking about it as wheels within wheels, cogs within cogs, these things have to take place before this actually takes place in the past. So you can go back and forwards in time and you say, well, what was happening the day before, and then what happened after that? Well, after that happened, the resurrection had occurred and the conception had occurred. So you jump forward in time now to the Armageddon number 7171629, 17629. Stone being rolled away, fulfilling the 3-day prophecy to rebuild the temple. The temple is the earth. It's not a structure. It's the earth. The temple is the earth. The earth destroyed by the mystery Babylonian religion. Okay? So the cross. Death occurred at 3:16 p.m., which is John, and you read John 3:15. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and whosoever believed in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So we go to my soul left my flesh at 3:16 and 26 seconds. So we read 3:16. 3 12-hour days later, the beginning of the fourth watch, the graves were opened, the stone rolled away to come to the rest at the foot of the cross. This thing's huge. It was 13 feet 2 inches across and 2 feet thick. and it rolled 100 odd feet to rest, come to rest exactly at the foot of the cross. So we had 3 days, which is 36 hours, and the resurrection occurred 164 minutes before the 36 hours were up, from 6 p.m. when the stone was rolled across the door of the tomb and sealed shut. So there's 164 minutes less 16 seconds, 26 seconds, till 6 p.m. when the stone was rolled and shut. Okay, and sealed. Then a 9 pen put in it. So we have 3 days, 2160 minutes less the 164 minutes gives us 1996, which is 33.2666 years, that's rounding it off, or 33 hours, 16 minutes. I arrived back in Australia on October the 8th, 1966, and I go on with something else from that point. Anyhow, I'm saying that the Old Testament is clear, no one, good or evil, had a comforter. So the comforter now is the cross, and the image of the Father, the white-haired old man, is now the ghost, because that's what a soul is a ghost. Right? And it left the imprint, and the larger piece of the cloth is of course the same number as the total of all of the verses, that the 7 verses, 3 in the Old Testament, 4 in the New Testament, which all add up to the number which is the same as the area of the larger piece of the cloth, which has the image of the old man in it. So the comforter gives you the image, which gives you the Shroud of Turin, which gives you the white-haired old man, which gives you the Holy Ghost. It says so by the comforter, prophecies of John, and I've got them here somewhere I read them to. Here they are. Lamentations, we got 4:1, then 1:9, and Lamentations 1:9 and 1:16. Then we got Ecclesiastes 4:1. And so I returned and considered all the oppressions that were done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed. They had no comforter, but on the side of the oppressors there was no comforter. Lamentations 1:9. Her filthiness is in her skirts. She remembered, this is talking about Jerusalem, remembered not her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully. She had no comforter. O Lord, lo Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy has magnified himself. So what we're doing is we're adding 4.1, Lamentations 1.9, Lamentations 1.16 to the New Testament ones, which are John 14:16. So that's 14.16, John 14.26, John 15.26, John 16.7, and that all comes to a number which is the area of the Shroud of Turin, which is the larger piece. And I said the other day that the head of the Spurt team that went there and finished their conclusions in 1978 on October the 8th, finally had a eureka moment last month. The cloth is made of 2 pieces. Like I've been saying for 20 years and they still don't get it. So the large cloth is 39.5 inches by 171, which gives you the area, which is the same numbers that add up of all those verses where it's talking about the comforter. So obviously the bloody comforter is the image on the Shroud of Turin, the white-haired old man that comes to the earth today as the comforter. After all, I'm the only one that can reveal it, right? So we go on, and the number is 6754, and the area of the cloth is 6754.5. The 5 is Abba, the Father, and the 6754 is a touche, a phantom, an illusion, resemblance, a representative figure, especially image. So the resurrection had taken 1982 years from the complete restoration of my body, April 5th, 33 AD, to 2015. The 164 minutes divided by 1982 gives you 12.085365 years per second on that math. And that gives you the name, or the word 1982 in Greek. It's hard to pronounce, ski adzu. to cast a shade upon. Hello?
No, it's hello. And speaking
To envelop in a haze of brilliancy.
Brilliancy.
Figuratively, to invest with preternatural influence and overshadow. And the 5365 is to pierce through, and that's where they've got the side of the thing pierced through.
Right. Can I just say hello? We've got two listening, two who are communicating while they're listening. Roller Skeezer's back with a roar, he says. He was impressed with the 3 realms. Roller Skeezer is Adam Yates. And Andrew is back. Hello, he says. Hi, guys. Thank you for dropping by. Continue, babe.
Oh, what I've got now is a series of pictures, if you like, of what's happening in the cross, in the tomb, rather. And then conceived at the same moment, 1910 years later, as the white old man is getting up, that has now been resurrected to life. Because now the garment is on the outside of the young 33-year-old body, and that's why he's got white hair.
Yes.
It's the soul is worn on the outside. This takes us to the Isaiah's prophecy of 63, 1 through to 6. And if you do that as years, that's how old my grandfather was, Francis Aloysius Golightly. And I should say that Ratzinger, right? His name is also Aloysius. His second name is Aloysius.
Joseph Aloysius.
Joseph Aloysius.
And so then there were, and when we made that upload to the newly elected Francis, Pope Francis, you joined them together, Francis Aloysius, and made the approach as the two elect. However, of course, he rejected.
Well, they've got to give him a flash, right? So.
Yes.
And I know they will, but you can't. When history looks back on all this, you can't say, well, he didn't give him a go, didn't give him a chance, didn't do this. Look, they give him all a chance in the world.
Yes, I know.
I even gave the Jews a chance now. That really took some doing, right? So what we have then is, in the drawing here, the old man is now getting up, and he's got the white hair and the white beard and covered in a glowing light, of course. And then just another one is the image of the Shroud of Turin, showing a negative image when it was developed in 1898 by Peer. Changed it to recognising it as being a negative image, so therefore the positive image come out, and it shows the white-haired old man. So Daniel 7:9, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. His garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. There's your wheels again, wheels within wheels.
Wheels within wheels.
So you've got to put all the dots together. You've got to be sort of an expert on this kind of stuff, and expert on subterfuge talk, right? Because it's always the Jews have had a long time to play with this. Right? So this next one, I've got the 7 verses in the show that gets to the Tesla and the ghost and so forth. And just repeats myself a little bit there, which I tend to do. Matthew 27:20, but the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude they should ask Barabbas. Well, Barabbas was a nickname of Jesus. So it means son of daddy, son of Abba, son of the Father. Right? So that's why I said nothing.
You said nothing.
I had to go to the cross, it's very important. And then it talks about the chromosome level that they found in the blood and etc. No blood pressure points, because it's not a resurrection that they think it is, that the body suddenly resurrected. It wasn't that at all. It was lifted up and covered with the Father coming back in to revive the dead body, but cannot go inside the blood because no blood in the body. It's got to go and be worn on the outside.
On the outside.
I've been in that situation in hospital where I had no blood in me at all. The doctors thought I was going to die. I said, don't worry about it.
Now, what
well, I was led to death by these 23 doctors that come and put a stent in my kidney and into an artery.
Yes.
And these are doctors from all over the country to do a stent into a kidney, which is a 3-year-old, or I shouldn't say a 3-year-old, but a 5-year-old could do it. Right? Maybe I could have done it as a 3-year-old.
Mm. Now, what year was that, though? Remember the 1996 minutes, you returned in 1996.
That was about 1999, 2000, something like that. I could, there's a record in the hospital you can find out.
Right.
So, I've got a few drawings here. Now, I'll show you the birth certificate, which has the address. And therefore, the 164 minutes brings me through time to arrive at the 2015 Daphne Golightly Marshall, conceived on April the 6th, 1943. She was living on Gardner's Road at 451. Now, the birth certificate was issued on the 30th of January, which is the first date of execution in 1649. And it also marks baby not present because you're a straw man.
Oh.
And you've got the birth registrar of New South Wales, Australia, all capital letters. It's a straw man. Right? Dead. Means you're dead. When you've got that in capital letters written across, it means you're dead. Without a will. And they're trading you as a, and I'd like to know how much money they got from me. So that what we come to is John 2, 2015, and that's where woman, why weepest thou? And I said the term sir is for an old man. And Gardener's Road, conception in the garden. Isn't it ironic that Mary conceived in the Garden of Gethsemane? Her mother also conceived of the Holy Ghost, of the Holy Father, if you like, Gabriel. Also in the Garden of Gethsemane, about 15 years prior to that. And here it is, I'm conceived on Gardener's Road. Well, I couldn't be conceived in the Garden of Gethsemane. It was near enough, they call it Gardener's Road. That's where I first went to school, that's the last school I went to. It was a horrid experience. So you was going to read something, my dear, was you?
No.
You was. You're going to read the Caiaphas,
yes. Sorry, that one, yes, I've got it open. This is the Pilate's report, the resurrection. Go back a little. The burial. So this is Pilate's report, the burial. I returned to the praetorium sad and pensive. On ascending the stairs, the steps of which were still stained with the blood of the Nazarene, I perceived an old man in a suppliant posture, and behind him several Romans in tears. Hear this is Pontius Pilate describing how he saw several Romans in tears. Now getting back to the old man, he threw himself at my feet and wept most bitterly. It is painful to see an old man weep, and my heart being already overcharged with grief, we, those strangers, wept together. And in truth, it seemed that the tears lay very shallow that day, with many whom I perceived in the vast concourse of people. I never witnessed such an extreme revulsion of feeling. Those who betrayed and sold him, those who testified against him, those who cried, "Crucify him, we have his blood," all slunk off like cowardly curs and washed their teeth with vinegar. As I am told that Jesus taught a resurrection and a separation after death, if such should be the fact, I am sure it commenced in this vast crowd. "Father," said I to him, after gaining control of my feelings, "who are you, and what is your request?" "I am Joseph of Arimathea," he replied, "and am come to beg of you upon my knees the permission to bury Jesus of Nazareth." "Your prayer is granted," said I to him. And at the same time I ordered Manlius to take some soldiers with him to superintend the interment, lest it should be profaned. A few days after, the sepulchre was found empty. His disciples proclaimed all over the country that Jesus had risen from the dead, as he had foretold. This created more excitement even than the crucifixion. As to its truth, I cannot say for certain, but I have made some investigation of the matter, so you can examine for yourself and see if I am in fault, as Herod represents. Joseph buried Jesus in his own tomb. Whether he contemplated his resurrection or calculated to cut him another, I cannot tell. The day after he was buried, one of his priests came to the praetorium and said they were apprehensive. Now, Joseph was part of the Sanhedrin, wasn't he?
He was.
So when he's saying that one of his priests, he's talking about the priests of Joseph belonging to the Sanhedrin. Is that not? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So the day after he was buried, one of his priests came to the praetorium and said they were apprehensive that his disciples intended to steal the body of Jesus and hide it, and then make it appear that he had risen from the dead, as he had foretold, and of which they were perfectly convinced. I sent him to the captain of the royal guard, Malchus, to tell him to take the Jewish soldiers, place as many around the sepulchre as were needed. Then if anything should happen, they could blame themselves and not the Romans. When the great excitement arose about the sepulchre being found empty, I felt a deeper solicitude than ever. I sent for Malchus, who told me he had placed his lieutenant, Ben Isham, with 100 soldiers around the sepulchre. He told me that Isham and the soldiers were very much alarmed at what had occurred there that morning. I sent for this man Isham, who related to me, as near as I can recollect, the following circumstances. He said that at about the beginning of the 4th watch, there was a soft and beautiful light over the sepulchre. He at first thought that the women had come to embalm the body of Jesus, as was their custom, but he could not see how they had gotten through the guards. While these thoughts were passing through his mind, behold, the whole place was lighted up, and there seemed to be crowds of the dead in their grave clothes. All seemed to be shouting and filled with ecstasy, while all around and above was the most beautiful music he had ever heard. Probably Elvis. And the whole air seemed to be full of voices praising God. At this time there seemed to be a reeling and swimming of the earth, so that he turned so sick and faint that he could not stand on his feet. He said the earth seemed to swim from under him, and his senses left him, so that he knew not what did occur. I asked him in what condition he was when he came to himself. He said he was lying on the ground with his face down. I asked him if he could not have been mistaken as to the light. Was it not day that was coming in the east? He said at first he thought of that, but at a stone's cast it was exceedingly dark, and then he remembered it was too early for day. I asked him if his dizziness might not have come from being awakened and getting up too suddenly, as it sometimes had that effect. He said he was not and had not been asleep all night, as the penalty was death for him to sleep on duty. He said he had let some of the soldiers sleep at a time. Some were asleep then. I asked him how long the scene lasted. He said he did not know, but he thought nearly an hour. He said it was hid by the light of day. I asked him if he had been questioned by the priests. He said he had. They wanted him to say it was an earthquake and that they were asleep, and offered him money to say that the disciples came and stole Jesus. But he saw no disciples. He did not know that the body was gone until he was told. I asked him what the private opinion of those priests he had conversed with was. He said that some of them thought that Jesus was no man, that he was not a human being, that he was not the Son of Mary, that he was not the same that was said to be born of the Virgin in Bethlehem, that the same person had been on the earth before with Abraham and Lot, and at many times and places. It seems to me that if the Jewish theory be true, these conclusions are correct, for they are in accord with this man's life, as is known and testified by both friends and foes, for the elements were no more in his hands than the clay in the hands of the potter. He could convert water into wine. He could change death into life, disease into health. He could calm the seas, still the storms, call up fish with a silver coin in its mouth. Now I say, if he could do all these things which he did, and many more, as the Jews all testify, and it was doing these things that created this enmity against him. He was not charged with criminal offences, nor was he charged with violating any laws, nor of wronging any individual in person. And all these facts are known to thousands, as well by his foes as by his friends. I am almost ready to say, as did Manlius at the cross, truly this was the Son of God. Now, noble sovereign, this is as near the facts in the case as I can arrive at, and I have taken pains to make the statement very full, so that you may judge of my conduct upon the whole, as I hear that Herod Antipater has said many hard things of me in this matter. With the promise of faithfulness and good wishes to my noble sovereign, I am your obedient servant, Pontius Pilate.
Well.
So there you have it.
Now the sunrise to sunset was 755 minutes on the date of the resurrection for Jerusalem, and it means in the sense of bending the knee.
Yes.
Now the sunrise was 5:26 in the morning.
5:26.
So that fits what you're saying.
Yes,
as the sun
exactly.
was coming up,
Yeah.
it blended with the light coming from heaven.
Yes. Now, he said he thought it was about an hour, but he couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
So 3:16 to 5:26, 2 hours and 10 minutes. 130 minutes. 130 is Adam, isn't it? Is it
120?
120 is Adam. Right. Now, Jonas has joined us. He says, hi, Ash. Hi, yeah, I love you guys. Hi, Jonas. Good to have you back. How's the headache? You were asking about remedies for a headache this morning, which I gave a few, and so did some others. Is it any better? Right, go on, yeah.
You
But
talking
you
to
just
me?
no. I'm talking to Jonas. If he can tell me, I just ask him. What have you got to continue with?
To a stranger way. 526 is to a stranger way.
A stranger way.
No, estrange.
Oh, estrange. Right.
In other words, something happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
Were there strangers to?
Estrange is
well,
to separate to, isn't it?
Well, it's 575 and 245.
Yeah.
So 575 is off, and 245 is alien, strange, foreign. They don't know.
Right.
243. So estranged away is something odd.
Yes.
But gone.
Yeah.
Something odd took him away. Yeah, so there is a little bit of thought for the day. How are we going for time, Doug?
Well, we've got about 8 minutes to go.
8 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'll have a chat to your folks there.
Well, I am. I'm waiting for Jonas to respond. Jonas, the headache. Adam, you're still there. Andrew, where are you guys? Hey, this is interesting. Yeah, Adam said earlier it's good that Spreaker allows this chatting backwards and forwards, which it does. Oh, okay, here Jonas says, well, I have people over. I didn't see your remedy. Thanks for that. We'll look it up. Though I had a couple of wines. What, before or after the headache? And there's...
Before the headache.
Did you have those wines before the headache, Jonas? And then Kashmir is back. He says, love you, Mother and Father. Happy Easter. So, yes, guys, I hope you all had a good few days off.
Yeah, just to recap this a little bit, because of the blood moon happening on the 4th, I did calculations also based on that with moon positions.
Yes.
For the same periods of time, and it all turns out to be tomb, sepulchre, scourging, punishment, all that kind of thing.
Yes. So these are all the measurements between this location, your rebirth location,
all
the times, all that,
integration.
yeah.
So I've got it all, of course, in a bit of a PowerPoint. Something like this is very difficult to explain.
Now, see, this is where Christians have it totally skew-whipped. They believe that they have the victory. This is where they're so really arrogant without the understanding. They believe, well, first of all, rightly so, the victory was gained at the cross. But what they don't understand is that it's been playing out now, and because you're back on the earth, we're coming up to the final wrap where it is still playing out in this DVD. So when they, they're talking about gaining the victory over their lives in your name and all this kind of thing, when in fact they are the ones who are preaching the gospel, the doctrines of devils, Paul to start with, who was a Jew, and an infiltrator. And so the 1910 years until your rebirth, conception first and then rebirth.
This is
the flood of, yeah.
All starts in Babylon.
Yeah.
The Pharisees didn't lose for too long. They got knocked on their ass, but they come good again, because there's always waves of Pharisee priests coming from Babylon. This is a mystery religion, and they infiltrate, as they do in all things throughout the world. They get away with it in a sense by saying, well, this is what God told them to do, to go into all other countries. Well, God didn't say that at all.
Yes.
I didn't say that. I said string them all up.
Yeah.
And that's what I said about Hitler. I'm very disappointed with Hitler, that he didn't get done what he said he has been accused of being.
Yeah.
So now we have the precise thing that Hitler predicted would happen unless you control the Jews.
Yes.
They have taken over the world. They are the destroyers of the earth in all things.
Yeah.
And they want to terminate all life on the earth because they know they can't have it.
Yes.
Especially since God is back on the earth.
Yeah.
Because they come into hell. When was hell? World War II, at the end of World War II.
Yeah, the darkest hour.
The darkest hour. Before the Nagasaki and Hiroshima
yes,
and all that.
That's
the
right.
fire bombings and all that.
Yeah. All
in the middle of That's when I come to the earth.
Right.
So-
Now, a question from Jonas. He says, is the blood moon in September going to be a big happening, like war?
Absolutely.
He's thinking war, question mark.
No.
Guys, just a little bit of wisdom. In the prophecy in Matthew, it talks about wars, which are happening, these skirmishes all over the place, and the rumours of war. World War III has been rumoured. They tried to start it since 1950, the same Jews. So we're talking about the rumours of war.
That's right. So no, since I'm here, I came after the war started, right? But since I'm here now, and I'm making headway into the psyche of people like yourselves, that adds to the momentum of time, which is closing in one wheel against the other, going back to Ezekiel, of course. So the Armageddon thing is all part of a future point in time, which is, I think it's 177 days away from one moon to the next. I could do that now closely. I think it's about 177 days. So we've got...
What's 174 now, isn't it?
Current year,
175.
April the 4th.
It's 175 days.
Hold on, I'll tell you exactly. To September the 28th. 177 days.
From today or the blood moon?
From the blood moon.
Yeah, from the blood moon, but from today, 175 days.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Now, the Armageddon is all about Yah's reaching a point in time with his age.
Yes. As you see, everything is in synchronicity. With Jesus from birth to resurrection is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, a perfect number. It's a perfect mathematical number. You can't get any more perfect than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you add the ghost total to that, which is 108. That gives you the date that I, from my birth, on this time around, crashed a logging truck and went up bodily. So people talk about near-death experience. None of them talk about their body went with them. Well, mine went with me. That's what I did when I went back to see Mary as a child. Right? So I wasn't happy about it, but what I said was, you got to come back. You're the only one who can do it. You're God. Sorry.
Yes.
Like,
not a happy.
Not a happy.
Okay, another question from Jonas. So after he says, so the Earth plates are not going to shift and half Australia underwater, like Zeta Talk says. Jonas, first of all, Yah hasn't a clue who Zeta Talk are. Correct me if I'm wrong, they are supposed to be some entity channeling through a woman out of New Zealand, is this right? Who's been talking about the pole
What
shift.
have I said about New Zealand the last while?
Jonas, do you remember about New... Actually, a good quote here...
I haven't met an intelligent New Zealander yet.
Yeah.
A lot of arrogant ones that think they know everything.
Now remember, guys, you're in hell. This is hell. So unless you're talking to Yahweh, all the other voices out there that are talking...
No matter what anyone else says, it's bullshit.
It's bullshit, and it's all delusional to distract you from the truth that he's here. And the kingdom of heaven comes to the earth because it comes with him. And Corey is asking, will the kingdom of heaven be in Queensland, mother and father?
It's on the earth.
Yeah.
It'll certainly... It already has started here.
In this house.
Yes. Absolutely.
And then it will spread to the whole earth.
Once Pope Benedict gets back in gear, that's it. So then the church worldwide, with 1.2 billion Catholics, that's why we give the Anglican Church a bit of a run at doing the healing protocols which I've given to Pope Benedict that make all churches a healing centre. They don't want to do it because this is Welby, who's the head of the Anglican Church, so the bishops don't do nothing without doing what Welby says, who is now working for the Queen. The Queen's the head of the church. So they're not going to give health to all the people of India or anywhere else. So we have said how we are going to do it through the Vatican III given to the Pope. So, will I be able to institute that? No, because I haven't got time before the time is up, which is the 28th of September. But we have done it in Fiji and we have done it in New Guinea.
We've shown the way. We've gone there, done it, proved it, and shown the way. It's a different thing after you take over, and then you can literally call out the army to have these things implemented. Now, Andrew is saying, I have had a couple of deja vu moments in the last 2 weeks. Doesn't happen that often. Does that mean that timelines are coming together between heaven and earth, therefore the end of days?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Now,
Think of two wheels, one big wheel, one small wheel. Go back to your Ezekiel wheels.
Yes.
The wheels will eventually line up, the cogs will eventually line up, and when those cogs have got a little red dot on both of them, that's it. And that's the moons we're talking about.
Yes. The moon is the chronograph for everything that's going on. Now, Jonas continues about the Zeta talk. She talks to the aliens. Yes, now aliens are...
There's no such
devils.
thing as aliens, they're just demons, right?
And, now, the definition of an alien means somebody from a foreign country. So when I was living in Canada, I was an alien as an Australian.
I don't think that's what she means.
No, I know that. But these are devils. They're communicating with devils. Demons, devils, they can manifest whatever they like. These are evil spirits. And
Has she mentioned my name at all?
Totally.
Switch it off.
How many times do we have to say, unless they're talking about Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall, the Christ returned, all the rest of it, they are...
Look, these spokespeople from all these big organisations or small organisations who at least got followers around the world don't talk about me. None of them. In a good way or a bad way. And yet, my name is known everywhere. They won't talk about it because they're ruled by demons.
That's right. Now, yes, Roller Skeezer says that the Hindus call them jinn, an evil spirit. That's exactly right.
Go look in the mirror, you can see most of them when you're in
Yes, yeah, guys, go and look in the mirror. Anyway, Jonas continues, I had a beef with my local priest, put the In Christum Credent on his desk, and he laughed at me and said that Jesus is coming on the clouds. I wanted to knock his block off, but said, let's discuss it at length later. You should have knocked his block off, might have knocked some sense into him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
coming in the clouds.
Coming in the clouds, yeah. You know, I've said this before, you know what a cloud is today. It's the data storage above every city on the earth. The data storage, like all the information being fed in through cyberspace, which is the lightning flashing from east to west under heaven. Hello. Actually, it was Heiko, I should put that up again. He did a brilliant little animated thing explaining how computer signals go out. And all around the globe, you see lights flashing as information, images, knowledge is...
You've done that, Heiko?
Yeah, he did it about 2 years ago. He did a really good job. And so I'll get that going again.
Well, he's also fallen off the perch, right?
Oh, well, I ended up blogging him because he was carrying on with the awful conversation. Anyway, let's hope he got on with his life, and he had an apprenticeship, so that's what I kept telling him to do.
He asked me to get him a job, to get him an apprenticeship, to get him a wife.
Oh,
he did all that.
Baby.
Then he turned on me.
Still stupid. Anyway, somebody else says, I've been having dreams what God will do to the Jews, and it's not pretty.
You betcha.
He says an earthquake broke out in my dreams and the road spread, and then I woke up. But I saw you, Father, in the bright light. Oh, sounds like a plan. Anyway, look, guys, we're over time. We're way over. Again, somebody else might be wanting to use the deck after us, but... All right, time to go. So thanks for stopping by and chatting. Makes it more interesting. Sometimes we think we're just talking to a brick wall when we don't get any... Oh, I know. It... No. There was... I read a comment from Gordon Kirk from England, who a few shows ago, when we were talking about the crown and the Golightly crown, and he said that he had a couple of dreams, I think it was, where he saw you in the crown. with the crown. You were crowned in the dreams. So he wanted that to be mentioned. That's good. See you guys. Andrew says see ya. And Jonas says CIA, Ash. Yeah, have a good week. Thanks guys, all of you too. Have a good week. And we'll be back.
A lot of people out there, we've been manufacturing black salve and putting it up on eBay.
Yes.
And one fellow, of course he was apprehensive. What do you believe on the internet, right? So
yeah.
I put in there, well, we've got our clinics around the world, and you can go to this address, you can see on YouTube me being interviewed on Channel 2, and then how the Professor Phillips was saying there's no cure for HIV, and I'm saying there's no such thing as AIDS and HIV. It's two different things altogether. AIDS cannot be detected, in fact. You just get sick.
Yes.
Right? You can't find it. So they diagnose you with this and that. So anyhow, as it turns out, the AZT that you are given, forced to take when you fall under the law being diagnosed with HIV, right, which is bullshit, that's what kills you. Right? That's another way of getting rid of all these cocktails of deadly poisons.
They've been stockpiled
that's
for
what
years.
people die of. So we got this letter back from Steve, and he said that his wife had used on their what she thought were the cancers, and turned out they were cancers. And it extracted 2 cancers, and he's very, very happy with it.
Yeah.
So we put that up on the ad. So it's called Black Salvation, isn't it?
We've
really
called
works.
it Black
Salvation really works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can find that on the internet, look it up, and you can read what I've written there concerning the various things that we have done throughout time, and references to Elaine Hollingsworth and what she does and has done.
Well, she's the one to expose the whole thing.
Well,
and
she's
people
an American woman come over. She was a film star from
in
America.
her early career, yeah.
Very beautiful woman. At 77 years of age, she looked drop dead gorgeous.
Yes. Oh, she'd be 87 now, at least.
Now.
But she's been, that Aldara almost killed her. So she went on the warpath big time.
Aldara was the drug that they used on people that was supposed to knock out skin cancer. And of course, it's just the opposite.
It's a carcinogen, a known carcinogen, and it's killed many people.
We started using the black salve, of course, and it's been around a very long time, but we made sure that the formula's right.
Yeah, that's her formula. She exposes it to the world and tells here we can't sell it, but we can tell you what it is. So I made a batch, and away we go. It works. And
so a lot of people are starting to get onto it now. So
yes. All right. Okay. We're off. 68 minutes and 12 seconds. Later, Gators be back tomorrow.
So I'll say a little bit of German here. Hasta la vista.
Hasta la vista. Oh, wait on. I've got to go up with the choir. 18 seconds of the choir. Here we go. Where is it?
The Go Lightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net.
Right. Bye.